welcome to Issues and Answers. I am your host, Petula Olibert. Today we have with us Dr. Luz Longsworth, who is the Pro Vice Chancellor of the University of the West Indies. Welcome, Dr. Longsworth.
Thank you, Petula. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Today, I understand that the UWI has launched a major fundraising campaign. Could you tell us a little more about Global Giving Week?
Sure. Well, let me start by giving a little bit of background to the development of the UWI Global Giving Week. Our Vice Chancellor, Sir Hilary Beckles, conceptualized this Giving Week as a way really to bring our alumni and friends into the fold of participating in the new developments that the University of the West Indies has planned for our region. As you know, the university has been a creation of all of our governments of the region over the last 68 years. We celebrate 68 years this year of existence. But as the need for tertiary education, higher education grows in our region, it isn't possible for us to depend solely on a single source. And we know that our governments are supportive, but that we need so much more. And what the Global Giving Week's mantra is educate, emancipate, donate. And primarily we are focusing on our alumni to say, come join with us, give back to our friends, corporate of our corporate society, come and invest in the future by donating to the University of the West Indies, allowing us to enable more students to have access to an education that many of us have had through scholarships, through loans, but also ensuring that the university can continue to thrive, to serve the region, to respond to the region's needs. So that is the background. It really comes, I think, from the Bob Marley song, which I know all of your viewers would be familiar with, you know, emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. This is all about self-reliance. We have to work together to ensure that we can create a future where our children have access to the best education possible in the region.
Okay, and the initiative is called Global Giving Week. What countries are participating in the fundraising effort?
Globally, as it says. Of course, the campuses of the University of the West Indies have already started their launches. The entire program was launched in Jamaica on April 8th, and we then moved on to launches in Trinidad and Barbados at those campuses. We started the open campus launches. As you know, the UWI Open Campus is the 4th campus of the university, and we have sites all over the region. Our first launch for the UWI Open Campus was in Belize, and that was last week, Thursday, and our second here in St. Lucia. We have a launch planned for Antigua next week, Tuesday, and the Bahamas on the 26th. And people might ask, well, why those countries and not every country? Well, the Global Giving Week has a series of patrons, and the patrons that have come from the region are based in those countries. So for St. Lucia, for example, we were very honored that the Governor General, a very distinguished graduate of the University of the West Indies, Dame Perlette, agreed to host the launch for us this morning. And we are indeed extraordinarily grateful to her for her graciousness, for lending her support to this campaign. So there will be regional mini launches throughout all of our countries, but we are really highlighting it in the countries that our patrons reside in.
Okay, and I understand that the university wants to tap into new sources of funding with this campaign. Could you tell us what groups or areas are being targeted?
Certainly. The university, as I mentioned earlier, traditionally our major source of funding has been government contributions and tuition fees. Given the economic crisis that our region is going through, we recognize that there is no way that looking down the road that these traditional sources of funds can support the development that we need in higher education in order to create wealth, in order to generate wealth for our region. As an aside, I would say to you that we're quite distressed that our enrollment in tertiary education in the region is so low. The Vice Chancellor continually tells us that the figures show that we have the lowest tertiary education enrollment in this hemisphere. And we know that countries that have innovation, which is driven by higher education, are those countries that have higher developmental indexes. So we are really pushing to try and diversify funding. So this drive will include alumni, but alumni are all over. This morning, our head of site made a very good point that should we declare a day when all UE alumni across the world stay home, many things would shut down. Hospitals would shut down, courthouses would shut down, governments would shut down, and we would really see the impact that the University of the West Indies has had on our societies. So we have graduates that are in all walks of life. We want their advocacy, we want their input. You know, we would say, well, we want their money, yes, but we want their time and their support. We're also targeting the private sector and those persons who benefit from our graduates to come and invest in the future with us.
We will take a quick break. We will be right back.
Need to get a new passport or other important civil status document and don't know how? Want to check on a payment from government? How about when to pick up your completed driver's license? Looking for information about a government service? Don't get frustrated searching for the right number. Just dial 311, a unique, easy to remember number for non-emergency requests. Our friendly agents are on 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday to Friday to help point you in the right direction in both English and Creole. 311 is just one of the ways to access government services. One call, total access, dial 311.
Hello and welcome back to Issues and Answers. We're speaking with Dr. Luz Longsworth, the Pro-Vice Chancellor of the University of the West Indies. Dr. Longsworth, I understand there's a thrust to improve processes in the university overall and maybe some of the facilities with this fundraising campaign. Could you tell us what the priority areas are?
Oh, certainly. Well, as you know, Petula, the world is changing rapidly right in front of us, and the traditional careers are still, of course, very important. Medicine, law, engineering, and the university has really been outstanding in those areas. But we have new emerging areas in our economy, very interesting things. For example, sports as a career. Animation, social media, new media generally. New areas of technology that the university has to equip itself to be able to provide the necessary training for our young people. And so we do need an injection now of new capital to ensure that we're able to add those facilities, upgrade our facilities. I particularly am interested, for instance, in the sporting facilities, because the region has excelled in sports. We've excelled, across countries. And many of our athletes, unfortunately, have to go overseas for training. And when they do, we lose them sometimes. Mm-hmm. So the university wants to ensure that the wealth creation capacity of our strengths, such as sports, such as music and entertainment, that we can equip our people to benefit from that, and also that the region benefits from it. So yes, we are targeting some of those newer areas, entrepreneurship, the ability for our young people to go out and not look for a job, but to create jobs. So those are some of the things that we are targeting with the funding, and also ensuring that no bright student is left behind because they cannot afford to be at university. And sometimes it's not just the tuition. It's surprising. It is, they can't have a meal. They can't find the transportation fare. So we want to be able to help those students to fulfill their potential.
That was going to be my next question. How do we plan to make tertiary level education more accessible to, like the general people who can't afford it?
Exactly what we are all about. The Vice Chancellor has articulated a strategy for our new strategic planning period, which he calls the AAA strategy. And the first A of that is access. And we recognize that it's not just the university, it is all of the tertiary institutions in the region that have to work together in order to ensure that more and more students have access to a good quality tertiary education. Because we must be very alert to the fact that there are institutions that perhaps are not offering the quality that we need for or even the types of programs that we need for our development. So the university is very committed to working with sister institutions, our community colleges, teachers colleges across the region. We want to really join hands with them to see how we can assist in upgrading, in offering programs to students at all levels so that they can have access to good quality education. So that's one way. Another way that we're doing it is by really adopting non-traditional approaches. So the Open Campus, for instance, has the ability to bring someone into the higher education through prior learning. So someone who has done years of journalism, for instance, but does not have a degree, we can assess your ability from what you have done and say, well, oh, this is wonderful. This can promote you into a program and even give you credits towards your degree. We have the online programs in the Open Campus, for example, for persons who have the qualifications but don't have the time or have to stay home. They can't go to a university overseas. They can stay right here in St. Lucia and do their degrees. So it has to be a multitude of ways that we provide access to ensure our people do have the ability to move into the knowledge economy of the 21st century.
And in addition to that, are there any plans to expand globally, to have maybe like satellite offices, even in countries that are not Caribbean based?
Oh, you have been doing your research, I can see. Yes, in fact, we are about to launch the China UWI Global Institute for Software Technology. And what that will entail is an Institute for Software Technology training in the Caribbean at the Cave Hill and the Mona campuses, but also a UWI Institute for Latin American and Caribbean Studies in China. So we are already conquering China. We also have a relationship that is going to be cemented this summer with the State University of New York, where we will be having the SUNY, State University of New York, UWI, Caribbean Institute of Leadership for Leadership and Sustainable Development. And we are going to be out there globally ensuring that the University of the West Indies name is seen, is heard, and that we have our people from the diaspora, as well as persons who are interested in research in the Caribbean, participating in our programming all across the world.
Nice. Okay, we're ready. Thank you so much, Dr. Longsworth, for being with us. You are watching Issues and Answers. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.